Welcome to Community Corner. I'm your co-host, Mr. Ryan Nicholas Gray.
I'm the other co-host, DeWitt Taylor.
Our guest
Ryan?
today is Mr. Michael Bylen, the owner and general manager of Pine Crest Golf Club. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for coming down, Mike.
Well, thank you for having me.
Pleasure
to be here.
Mike, now please tell us about your background.
Well, I grew up in the Rochester area. Went to school there. Graduated from Adams High School. From there, I went to Coastal Carolina University in near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and played golf down there. And got a business degree at Coastal Carolina. I'm one of 4 children. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and my family has been a long time. We've lived in Rochester.
Please tell us about your family.
Well, I am single. I live with. I'm the youngest. I live with one of my older brothers. My oldest brother lives in San Diego, California, and he's married and has 2 children. I have a sister who lives in Virginia, near Washington, D.C., and she's married and has 2 children as well. My father's deceased, and my mother lives in Rochester.
I'm so sorry for your father.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm sorry as well.
Yes.
Tell us about what schools you went to.
Well, as I said, I graduated from Adams High School, and then went on to college. I actually took a circuitous route. I went to Macomb Community College for a year. From there, I went to Arizona State, and then finally to Coastal Carolina, where I graduated.
David?
Thank you, Ryan. How did you get involved with golf?
How did I get involved with golf? Well, my father played, and as a young man, he took me out to play with him when he would go on Sunday afternoons. And sometime in the 70s, they opened a golf course, Great Oaks in Rochester Hills, and we played there. And from that, I just gained a love of the game and appreciation of the game. And ultimately, I played in high school for a year and then in college, and it's now led into a career.
Very interesting. Ryan?
Thank you, David. Mike, now Pine Trace Golf Club was the first golf course. How did you come to build it?
Well, that's a good question. Somewhat of a long story, but the city of Rochester Hills was donated this piece of property that Pine Trace now occupies back in the early 80s. And at that time, they had done a study of recreational needs that the residents felt were unfulfilled, and golf ended up being high on that list. And that land didn't really lend itself to other forms of recreation. It actually was well suited for golf. So the city decided to enter into a public-private venture where they would not expend taxpayer revenue, but yet provide a service, a recreational amenity to the community, and offer discounts to residents. And that's what we did. Is we entered into a contract with them. Took some doing, and then we built it, and we've operated it now since 1989.
That's interesting, David.
Thank you, Ryan. Pine Trace was designed by Arthur Hills.
Yes, it was.
How did you pick a designer for a course?
Well, probably did it differently then than I would now. Did it more regionally then. Art was, and still is, a very noted architect, internationally known, yet his business is nearby. His office is in Toledo, and I think more at that time, because of the location of his business, I reached out to him for that reason.
Wow. Ryan?
Thank you, David. Now, Mike, does it require special training to design a golf course?
I think if you want to have a good golf course, generally speaking, it's a good idea. However, some of the great golf courses of the world have been designed and built by people who had no earlier training for that, but they maybe had an aptitude for and a vision for what would work well in golf. So generally speaking, yes, but it's not necessarily always the case.
You know, speaking of golf courses, I played one in Hilton Head, an Arthur Hills course. It was called the George Fazio course. That is also designed by Arthur Hills. It's a
Yeah,
lovely
I think it
course.
was Palmetto, the Arthur Hills at Palmetto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a nice course. Art's done great work all throughout the world. So he's, as I say, he's a noted architect.
David?
Ryan, how long did it take to build Pine Trace?
Well, once we got started, it took about 2 years, which is typical for a course in Michigan. By the time you get things, get the property under contract and get it designed and permitted, and then once construction starts, that generally takes a little more than a year. And what you like to do is be seeded. In other words, have all your irrigation, all your shaping done, and be seeded about this time. Start seeding about this time of the year. And if you do that, you can generally open the following July. So it was about a 2-year process.
Wow, very interesting. Ryan?
Thank you, David. Mike, we understand you just held a special event at Pine Trace on Monday, August the 4th, with Michigan Special Olympics. Please tell us how you became involved with Special Olympics golf.
Well, as you know, because you've played for so many years, we've held the Special Olympics of Golf benefit at Pine Trace for now our 17th year. This past Monday was our 17th benefit. We became involved. We wanted to do, the owners, my partners and I, we wanted to do something to give back to the community. And this was obviously in the early 90s. We searched for something that might be unique. Just coincidentally, at the exact same time, the Special Olympics of America had reached out to the PGA of America and said, what can we do to get our athletes involved in golf? How can we get them involved? So the PGA developed a 6-skill competition for Olympians to compete in. We had found out about that and contacted the PGA, looked at it. We thought, geez, this is a great thing. We can actually get athletes here, get Olympians here, and have them participate, which is very unique type of an event. And as you know, it's a great day.
David?
And Ryan, I'm going to go ahead with my questions.
Okay.
A big one. I have 2 words. What my question is, Mike, Special Olympians also participate in the event. What type of competition do they participate in?
Okay, the Special Olympians participate in 6 different events. 2 of them are putting. There's a short putt, it's about a 6-foot putt, and then there's a long putt, which is more like about a 25-foot putt. And then they have a chipping competition and a pitching, which is like a long chip type event. And then they have a woods and an iron competition. So it's pretty across the board. All aspects of the game of golf are tested, and it makes for a fun event. It all happens right around the clubhouse there at Pine Trace.
Very interesting. Ryan?
Thank you, David. Mike, how was the date chosen for the event?
Somehow we got on the first Monday in August, and we've just stayed on it. I don't think there was anything, any great effort put into that date when we started, but now that we've done it, it makes it easy for me to remember. So that's what I always do.
David?
Ryan?
Yep.
How difficult is it to organize and plan this event?
Well, it's certainly easier now than it was in the beginning. It takes a fair amount of work by an awful lot of dedicated people. One of the great aspects of the event is that our employees, we donate the golf course that day. We give up use or any green fees to the golf course that day. just to hold this event. But our employees, which are oftentimes, and the majority are college students and certainly many people of all ages, they donate their time. So I think that's great, and it's laudable, and I think it speaks so much about my staff and so much about their character that they would do those things. So there's a lot of work done. The effort is strenuous, but it's a labor of love. At the end of the day, you're tired, but you feel so fulfilled. You feel like you've really done something positive. So fair amount of work, but well worth it.
Can I recommend its golf course to any other one, including Ryan, as a job?
Absolutely, sure. Pine Trace, great place to work, folks. Wonderful place to work. The GM's fantastic.
Thank you for answering it. Thank you. Ryan?
Mike, how many years have you hosted the Special Olympics golf event?
17 now, 17. Staff's
Mike,
great too.
I want to tell you, you have been. I've enjoyed myself. Like I'm involved in Special Olympics, David. Did you know this, David? I'm one of the participants at the event. It was held on August 4th. I had a wonderful time, Mike. It was Special Olympics means a lot to me.
Well,
I'll tell you, thank you very much. You are a kind and very well-being gentleman, because there is not one person in this entire world, David, who wouldn't give their time up for anybody with special needs, David. Because Mike is the only person who gave his job and his course to all the special events all over Michigan. They've come from to this one special event on one special day. Like, it made me feel happy.
These two questions, Ryan.
Sure, man.
Can I just respond to that? I appreciate that very much. And it's a joy to see you and people like you come back year after year. And the fact that you enjoy it makes all of that effort worthwhile. But I would be remiss. It's not just me that does that. My partners also donate that golf course. And again, my employees, the people that I work with, are so generous of their time as well. So I stand here on their behalf, or I sit here on their behalf to accept your thanks. But there's certainly many, many people that I accept that on their behalf.
Thank you, sir.
Ryan, can I ask two questions?
Sure, you may, David.
Ryan, we understand the proceeds from the event go to the Michigan Special Olympics. How much has been raised over the last 17 years?
Right. The proceeds do go to Michigan Special Olympics. And we haven't completely calculated what we've got done this year, but we are nearing $500,000. We're over 450. I think we're about 470,000. So hopefully we'll hit the $500,000 mark on the 18th year.
I've just been hearing that there are plans for the 18th annual Special Olympics event at Pine Trace.
Yes, it'll be the first Monday of August 2009. You can count on it.
Ryan?
Like, your staff must make you proud. Can you tell us what the staff does at the event and in its planning?
They do make me proud, and that's the people that I work with are probably the thing, looking back, that I'm the proudest of, is to have been associated with so many wonderful people. It is a very unique workplace.
Because one of them happens to be my neighbor,
Who is that?
Mrs. Sawyer.
Oh yeah, sure, okay. And so what am I? The question was, what am I proud of with them? I think I'd start back with what I said earlier, and that is that you have a lot of young people that are donating a day, and college students, high school students that could use the money, and yet they donate their time, as well as the more mature people as well. I think that speaks a lot about them and about their commitment to their fellow man. And I just think in general, I'm proud to be associated with people as nice and kind and good-natured as they are.
Thank you. Appreciate it. David?
Okay, I got two more questions that go together here. Are the other significant contributors or sponsors for this yearly event?
The majority of the money is raised by the people that participate in the golf event before the skills competition. People pay to come and really spend the day at Pine Trace, and they play golf prior to the Olympians' arrival. So that's the majority of the sponsorship. But we do have people like Gordon Foods, who has been a long time sponsor of ours and gives product. Pepsi has done the same thing. Club Car has done the same thing. I'm probably missing others that have been really good sponsors year after year for us. But most of it comes from the people.
What do they contribute?
Well, they contribute their time because they're there with the Olympians in the evening. They're their coach and rooting section and that as well. But they also contribute dollars to the event.
Wow, very interesting. Ryan,
Thank you, David.
can I ask 2 questions?
All right. Who can play in the event? Who can play in the event during the day on the long day event? Is it limited to foursomes, or can less than 4 players sign up for the event?
Yes, I mean individuals. There's a number of individuals that we pair up into foursomes, but certainly anyone that would like to play, up to 144 participants, we accept. The majority of the time they are foursomes, but occasionally they're twosomes.
Right. Please tell us about the awards recognition portion of this special day.
Like these right here, for example.
Because those medals, I won them last year. I brought gold, silver, and bronze.
I mean, this is right.
And that is this year's. My Special Olympics hat with me every year. I wear that hat, and on the Special Olympics, or every day, everywhere I go.
You do?
I do every day. Of course
Good.
I do.
That makes me feel good. Well, I think, as you know, the awards ceremony is the best part of the day, because that's when we get to recognize the achievements of the Olympians. And that's the last part of the day. We take a picture right after that, but that's after the competition and after dinner, and everybody is out on the driving range, and we have a podium and for the athletes to come and stand on, and we present the medals. And the medals are presented by the foursome that went around with the Olympians, so they're real involved in that as well. And it makes it all worthwhile. That hour or hour and a half of that ceremony is the best time of the day, really the best time of the year.
Thank you, David.
Can you please describe any other activities, including these medals, activities that make up the event?
Yeah, we do a lot of eating. I'll tell you that. We start with breakfast early in the morning, and we always tell golfers, bring your eating shoes because we're going to feed you all day. And I think about 10 o'clock we have a shotgun where we get all the players, the 144 people out on the golf course, the people that sponsor the event, and they play, usually 5 hours, and we're feeding them out there as well, ice cream and hot dogs and lemonade, all sorts of different stations for them. And then when they come in, the Olympians have already arrived. And at that time, we match up Olympians with a foursome. Sometimes 2 Olympians with foursomes, but usually 1. And then they become the coach in the rooting section for the Olympians as they go on to their 6 events, skill events. They go around. After the events are done, we have dinner and then the medal ceremony.
I can answer 4 questions.
All right. Mike, tell us now. How can we raise awareness of this special event?
We've purposely not tried to raise awareness. We've never wanted to get celebrities involved, and we've never really tooted our own horn about it. Our focus is really on the athletes, and that's the way we want it to be. We generally have about 50 athletes, and that's their day. We do this to benefit them and for that money to go to Michigan Special Olympics so that it helps those athletes and others compete in other events, other days and other places. But we've never really tried to raise the awareness.
All right. When when will people be able to sign up for next year's event, and how do they get any entry forms?
Well, I'll take a check right now if somebody wants to sign up. We get people signing up all year long, and entry forms can be got at Pine Trace Golf Club. And anyone that would like to see, we have many pictures there, or would like to know more about the event can come there, and part of our staff, really just about anyone can tell them so much about it.
So you're saying other words that you can sign up any time?
Yes.
Anybody
Wow.
can come. Anybody can come, David. You can come. Anybody can come.
I didn't know that.
I understand you have some exceptional donations that have been made related because of this event. Can you please tell us about those donations?
Yes, we had a kind of a neat phone call. It'd be 2 years ago in this coming November from a gentleman who was a longtime player at Pine Trace, Ron Gorga, and he had a aunt that lived out east. That was a wealthy lady who had passed away, and he and several other people, I think an accountant and a attorney, were charged with dispersing the proceeds from this estate, and she had set aside significant dollars for charity. And Ron was aware of Special Olympics, and one day he called and said, I was thinking about making a contribution through this trust fund, and lo and behold, we got $50,000 from them on, I think it was December of '06, and then we got another $20,000 last November. So we got $70,000 from this lady and her
David, see?
trust fund.
That's a good story. So, did you like that story? Did you like that story?
I didn't know that. Now I have a question. Is there anything else you would like to say about your association with the Michigan Special Olympics?
Yeah, I would just say for anybody that, I think anybody that has been associated with it already knows what I'm about to say, but anybody that that ever thought about doing something and getting involved in something, there's really no better organization than the Special Olympics, because I believe that the Olympians are so genuine, so loving, so enthusiastic, just such kind people that you can't give more than you'll get back. It's impossible. No matter what you do and expend, whether it's dollars or effort, will be repaid to you instantly. So it's a great organization. It benefits so many fine people like yourself. And I would just encourage anyone that was looking for an opportunity to better their lives, to do something for their fellow man, to consider Special Olympics, and in particular Michigan Special Olympics.
Mike, you know, that makes me happy because, David, that makes me, it was just told was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard you say. You are a wonderful gentleman and a scholar. David, he does. He gives his time to the Olympians. He gives his entire staff.
Well,
Everybody
in
who
that
comes.
case, I have a question based on that, Ryan.
David, ask away.
Do you have contact information so interested people may get in touch with you about this event, or is it on your website for Pine Trace?
Yes, they can contact us on the website, which is pinetracegolfclub.com. But the phone number, what I would encourage people to do is to come to the golf club, call us, 248-852-7100, and just come out, play golf, or just come out and talk to the staff. Like I said, anybody there can give you some great information about it.
Well, there, so we ask him about
Since we're almost past the 2-minute warning, let's ask that, sorry.
All right.
What
Mike,
is your
tell.
favorite food?
Yeah. There
What
you
about
go.
the food?
What is your favorite food?
What is my favorite food?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is it?
I'm kind of a steak and potato guy myself.
You too.
Ryan,
I
your
think
favorite food?
David? My favorite food, David, since I was about 3 or 4 years old growing up, my favorite breakfast cereal was Cheerios. Also, my favorite dinner is pizza from Sir Pizza. Pizza, you're the best.
When I was growing up, my favorite food was marshmallows. Don't ask me why.
Marshmallows?
But my all-time favorite food back then was a healing I had on a pizza when I was choking on a piece of steak. I love steak.
Aaron?
But I survived my steak story.
Aaron, tell me, Aaron. Aaron. What is your favorite food, Aaron? It's curious.
My favorite food is chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken is our floor manager's favorite food.
David, would you please like to close the show?
My pleasure. I got a quick one for us. What's your favorite pop?
Coke.
Mine to me is Diet Coke and Mountain Dew.
My favorite pop is Diet Root Beer, and of course, Diet IB Soup Beer. Aaron, what is your favorite pop?
My favorite pop is Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Our floor manager's favorite drink is Pepsi, folks.
There you go, folks.
Well,
Pepsi.
I'm David DeWitt Taylor.
I'm Mr. Ryan Nicholas Ray. Thank you for joining us today.
Let us to show you guys Mike from Pine Trace Golf Course. Thank you for coming down the show.
You're welcome.
My name is Ryan.
We would like to thank for your support of the Special Olympics over the past 17 years, folks. Give it so you and Mike a big round of applause. Please clap.
My name is Mr. Ryan Nicholas Gray.
It takes a very special person. You have done. Thank you again, Mike.
You're welcome.
David.
And thank you. I'm David DeWitt Taylor. Our board director, Aaron Conning Katso. Come on, Aaron, come up here.
And turn to me.
And it is my favorite guy who is Bulgarian, Ryan Nicholas
I'll
Gray.
do this. My name is Ryan Nicholas Ray. Thank you for joining us today in Community Corner. And remember,
I'm David Taylor. We'll see you all at the end of September, folks.
and remember, this is August. Have a good afternoon, everyone, and remember.
And by the way, a little reminder that the upcoming show will be based on disabilities from PBS.
That's
Bye,
right.
folks.
Bye, folks. Remember, enjoy yourselves and go play golf.